Assessing a mentee using Competency Manager. For competency-based certification, we are using a software tool called Competency Manager. In this short presentation, I will introduce how we can use this tool in helping us to assess mentees' growth in their competencies. So what is competency-based assessment? Very briefly and simply, competencies are the knowledge, skills, and attitudes that are required to correctly perform a given role. And assessing competencies is a long-term approach targeted at the future of the mentee. It focuses on assessing the relevant competencies rather than focusing on something else in the past, for example, their experience or their academic credentials. The Competency Manager has a framework with a certain hierarchy. Let's take, for example, a given role, consultant in literacy. For each role, there are a number of categories of competencies. Let's look at interpersonal skills. Now, interpersonal skills is a category that's used for all domains. And then those are general categories, and there are other categories that are more specific to each domain, for example, literacy. But interpersonal skills applies across the board generally. And within that category, there are a number of competencies. For example, responsibility is able to effectively manage their responsibilities and commitments. And then the tool also gives room for rationale for the competency. Being able to manage responsibilities and commitments helps to make an effective contribution and to avoid burnout. And then each competency is broken down into components. Then finally, activities, suggested activities for how to arrive and achieve the different components. The mentoring process is a cycle that repeats until the targets have been achieved. You can start the cycle by assessing the mentee's current level of competency. After assessment, you and your mentee identify which areas of growth to focus on in the next period, and then choose activities that are appropriate to the mentee to help them move forward. Often those activities involve the mentor and mentee working side by side, and that close involvement really helps with the next cycle, assessing the level of competency now achieved through those activities. Competency Manager, there are 4 levels. You can determine which level the mentee is currently at in each competency, and then choose activities to work towards the next level. So the levels are, you can see here, 0, 1, 2, and 3, no competency, not able to do this particular competency. Number 1 has some knowledge, but not yet put into practice. Number 2, the mentee is able to do this, but only with assistance. And then level 3, independent, although nobody is ever 100% independent. Basically, the mentee is ready to do this without too much assistance. Assigning activities, these are things we can bear in mind. When the areas of growth have been chosen, the mentor within the competency manager tool can assign activities to the mentee. The components are useful for thinking through which aspects to focus on at a particular time. Competency Manager has these suggested activities corresponding to the components and the particular level, the current level in competency. But these are suggestions, and they can be used if they are helpful. On the other hand, the mentor may create something more suitable for the individual mentee and add that into the tool as an assigned activity. While working on activities, as the mentor works on them, he'll be able to keep in touch with their mentor, either working side by side, or if not, Through the Competency Manager software, they can exchange messages. And then when the activity is complete, the mentor can mark it as done within Competency Manager. And a transcript of activities then can be exported, and that can be useful in reporting. As the cycle continues periodically, the mentor can review and update the mentee's competency levels within the tool and identify then new areas for growth. And finally, when the mentee has reached the required levels for qualification, the mentor may then recommend the mentee for certification. One of the benefits of competency-based assessment. It allows us to identify areas for improvement for each mentee and to create personalized and effective training plans. The assessment is personalized as only the competencies relevant for the role are used as criteria. Therefore, it produces highly valuable information that can help us understand the mentee better. It makes it easy to define individual goals for each mentee according to their actual capacities. It takes account of the work methods practiced by each mentee and establishes a system of continuous improvement.
Now let's have a look at the tool that helps you to keep track of your mentee's competencies. The CBC tool, once you have logged in, looks very simple and it is intuitive to use. As a mentor, you probably want to start by looking at the mentor dashboard. This gives you a list of your mentees. You can choose the mentee whose competencies you want to look at. You choose the name in the list and just click simply the View button. This will open up in a new window your mentee's development plan. As Michael has explained earlier, this plan is organized into categories, and within each category there are competencies, and this is reflected in this new window that opens up. The blue lines represent the categories, and within or underneath each one you will see the competencies listed. If you need more details about each competency, you can just click on the line, which will open up another part underneath with the description of the competency, and then you can also click on competency details, which will give you a list of the components that are included in this particular competency. As you scroll down, you will also see a line that is very important called assigned activities, and this is where you can assign suggested activities to your mentees that will help them to advance in their development and to get to the next level in their plan. Let's have a look at assigned activities and how to go about adding one for your mentee. You see that in this category, there are two competencies, cross-cultural communication and multicultural working. And in this third column, you already see the number of active assignments for this mentee in these competencies. If you click on the competency and then also on the assigned activities line, you will see what is already there as an assigned activity for this mentee. Now, how does this appear on your screen? Well, if you want to add an activity, you simply have to click the Add Activity button. This will open up a new window and it will give you two options. Either you can choose from a list of suggested activities that go with each component and that are organized according to different levels, as you see here, or you can add a new activity by choosing this tab on the top in the top right corner called Add New Activity. This allows you to select the activity level and write an appropriate activity that fits your mentee's needs in their context. And once you're done with that, you just have to click Save, and the activity will appear on your mentee's to-do list. But maybe you're happy with the already suggested existing activities, and then you can simply just choose the one that is the most suitable for this particular time for your mentee and click the Add button next to that activity. Don't forget to scroll down and click Save at the end. Once you've done that, this will appear on your mentee's to-do list. As you can see, this is also the place where you can choose the levels of your mentee in a particular competency just by simply dragging this scale up or down. You will be able to modify their current level. Once you have sufficient proof and you've observed them enough to be able to say that yes, they are now at this new level in this particular competency. Let's have a look at what this looks like from the mentee's point of view. They can click on the development plan tab, which will give a very nice and simple and visual representation of where they are at in their competencies in the different categories. Another important tab for the mentees is My Activities, where they can see a list of the suggested activities given by their mentor to work on. And here there are two interesting features that are worth pointing out. One is adding a comment, which you can do, both you as a mentor or the mentee, just by clicking on the speech bubble. And you can add a new comment by clicking on the new comment button. This can be quite helpful when you need to clarify something around the activity, and instead of having to explain things in a long email, you can just write directly here and it's clear to everyone which assignment or activity we're talking about. The attachment feature is also very helpful, because if the assignment requires the mentee to write something, a reflection paper or a translation or something completely different, they can attach the electronic file to this activity directly. And when they do that, as a mentor, you will be notified and you can have a look at their work and give comments or feedback on it. When the mentee feels that they have completed the activity, they click the Submit button and tick the checkbox that says I have completed this activity and save it. This will then notify you as the mentor that this assignment is waiting for you to evaluate and give feedback to your mentee. There are many more features to this program that you can discover over time, but these were just the main elements to get you started and hopefully enjoy using this tool as you track your mentees' competencies and as you help them develop further.
So we've been looking at assessing a mentee using the Competency Manager software.